Okay, so um, welcome to Leisure and Ink. This is my second video in my, I guess, daily check-in. Right? I really went in today trying to figure out, well, what the hell am I going to really talk about? How I'm going to get subjects to talk about. So I guess right now this should just be about my process until I just find that sweet spot. Um, but yeah, what's real for me to say right now? I don't know. I feel good right now. I just ate some awesome rice pudding that I made myself with no salt, sugar, or oil in it because I'm basically like allergic to refined salt, sugar, and oil. I gotta be real easy when it comes to refined salt, sugar, and oil or processed food. So I'm just making my own stuff. It didn't taste bad though. So I'm happy about just leaning into that consistently, like preparing my own meals and stuff like that, instead of eating out all the time. I'm really grateful for, I feel like this really like downshifting of my nervous system where I'm getting very deep sleep. I'm taking the time to walk into the park and I'm sitting down writing poetry, reflecting on my life, on my health, and things like that. It's so nice to be in a different environment. I read this thing one time. I think it was by, maybe it was by James Clear, I think. Oh no, or was it Milet? That other guy, I don't know. But it's this whole thing that he said that environment trumps willpower. And right now I'm in Lisbon, Portugal, and it's a whole new environment for me. And granted, those pastel de natas are amazing, but I'm trying to keep my distance from those because I OD. I shouldn't use that term, but I went ham on them. Shouldn't really use that term either. When I first got here, but now I'm leaning back into my nutritional regime that I learned from this place in Santa Rosa, California called True North Health Center. Um, anyway, about the silence that I feel like is increasing with the downshifting of my nervous system. I feel like in that space, there is so much opportunity for creativity to rise up. Things that I haven't expressed to myself about like the way I feel about moving from place to place. I just got to Lisbon, Portugal, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I just moved out of the hostel, and now I'm in an apartment. So I feel as I relax into my own space, this vast reservoir of creativity and energy and coherence and things like that come up. And so it's the best space to just allow my poetic nature to just come out and see how it wants to be expressed. Anyway, that's what I spent the day doing. Walking, cooking, writing poetry, thinking about the this concept of leisure and ink, this whole business concept that I'm working on. And I told you a bit about it already, but I guess I can express a bit how I feel about the name, Leisure and Ink, and what that really is talking about. I got to that idea from this concept in Vedic science that Maharishi Mahesh Yogi speaks about, that rest and activity are the steps of progress. Rest and activity are the steps of progress. And I noticed that, when I am meditating and I come back out, there's a new, fresh space of creativity that I have to play with. There's new energy and coherence that I can move around in. I also noticed that when I went on trips and I got to chill in different environments and meet different cultures and stuff like that, that also felt to me like a space of rest. So I came up with this idea of leisure and ink. Leisure, because I fall back into this space of silence, rest, observation, sort of a transcendent witness quality when I'm moving through life. And in that space, it just feels like so much creativity starts sprouting up. And so then I had the idea of ink to relate to writing poetry. I'm traveling the world, I'm learning about consciousness from the perspective of different cultures, people, places, and things. And what comes up from that for me is poetry. Maybe for someone else it would be music, or maybe they write prose or anything. But I do notice when I'm in that sort of leisure space, it creates this pulling back for dynamic self-expression. Um, so yeah, that is where leisure and ink comes from. And of course, you know, the word ink is sort of like a play on words, because while I spell it I-N-K as the ink of a pen, phonetically, I think that's the word, the sound is ink, you know, short for incorporation or business or entrepreneurial business acumen. So I'm sort of trying to marry those two worlds together with this whole concept of leisure and ink, and me out here in the world, while I build up, you know, my business or my brand, while also leaning into leisure and rest. In Vedic science, they have this concept called the bow and arrow concept. And it's about how rest or meditation or transcendence is like having this bow and arrow and pulling back the bow to this dynamic, restful state. And this state allows for a frictionless flow straight to the goal when it's released. And so you pull back the bow, rest, leisure, silence, and you let it go into dynamic activity. So I'm exploring with that, with this concept of leisure and ink, and seeing what that looks like to infuse creative process into business acumen, or business acumen into the artist's creative process, or into the end goal or impact or result of the artist's creative process. Not, I mean, I maybe shouldn't have said it like that, but I want to turn this whole idea of starving artist on its head. I feel like if you're walking, living, breathing creativity, then the resources should not be so hard to come by. And in my life, they often have been. And so I'm playing with these ideas and these concepts and living them out, see if they work. Thank you for being on a journey with me. That's my check-in for today for Leisure and Ink.